So for a while now, I've been wanting to make a long video about the Hostel movies. You know, they are some of my favourite horror movies just because of how absolutely insane they get. I mean, they're making a TV show for this. That shows you that it's got a fan base. And I really do enjoy the first and the second one, and the third one I think is a slept-on movie, to be honest, because it's kind of like a comedy version of it, so I enjoy it a bit, because I'm quite the fan of horror comedies. And I went over all of the movies about a month back, and I mean, I enjoyed them all. Once again, you know, I enjoy them every time that I watch them, and I do think that they are some of the most slept-on horror movies out there. Sure, they were huge back in the 2000s, and they started the whole, like, torture porn craze with Saw. But, I think Saw has beat them by now. Because it's still pumping out movies, and Hostel has only just been announced to be getting a TV show, which I think should have been done a long time ago. Like, Hostel's had its time by now, but I am still excited for the show. But speaking of that time, I want to look back on it. So here I've compiled all of my reviews for Hostel, and I'm also going to add a little ranking for all the Hostel movies at the end, giving you guys like my overall quick thoughts about all three of them, why I enjoyed them, the reason why I actually came to watching them, and also just why I think they are some of the most slept on horror movies out there. So let's get into it. Hostel was one of my first horror movies. And you know, maybe that wasn't the best idea considering how I was 10 and had just watched a really gory movie, but it got me into horror movies, and I really think that's cool that a movie such as this got me into the world of horror movies. Actually got me interested and got me into just watching all these movies. Well, it was made by Eli Roth, and he was originally going to make a documentary on this place in Thailand where you can go to it, pay 10 grand and shoot someone in the head. But after some persuasion from his friend and mentor Quentin Tarantino, he decided to make this a movie, and I think he did choose the better option as this movie is really good. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the film follows three backpackers. Paxton, played by Josh Hernandez, Josh, played by Derek Richardson, and Oli, played by Athorka Johnson. They embark on a hedonistic journey across Europe in search of adventure and excitement, aka sex and weed. And their quests lead them to Slovakia, where they encounter a fellow traveller who tells them about a legendary hostel with beautiful women just sat there to await their fanny packs. And yeah, Josh wears a fanny pack throughout all of this movie, and I love making fun of it. It's just hilarious. And yeah, well, Paxton, Josh, and Ellie, they're like, yes, let's go. So the next day, they're straight off to Slovakia. I mean, this movie is really, really good. It's just great. I love all the comedy in it. I mean, yeah, their quest leads them to Slovakia. They encounter a guy who tells them about the hostel. However, once they check it out, they find themselves trapped in a nightmare of sadistic torture and depravity, orchestrated by the wealthy clients who pay to fulfill their darkest desires. Which, yeah, I mean, sex can only go so far. And yeah, Hostel really is a relentless and just uncompromising descent into the depths of human depravity. It's a brutal examination of the darkest corners of the human psyche, and just how far someone can go for pleasure. Like, I just watched all the Hellraiser movies. I don't think they even go this far. And the director, Eli Roth, really makes a sense of dread and unease throughout the film. Like, during the first half, it's just really, really well done to kind of subvert your expectations and make you think you're watching this funny frat sex comedy. And then it turns halfway through and it turns into this full-fledged torture porn movie, and you're like, Jesus Christ, what have I just watched? This is awesome. If you're into gore, you will love this movie. I love it so much. It's so fun to just occasionally watch. And then always when it turns in the end, it's like, oh my god, I forgot how brutal this was. The second one's even worse. And the third one, well, I'll get to it at some point. But yeah, I mean, the director really is great at it. I mean, it's Eli Roth. What do you expect? He made Thanksgiving. He made Green Inferno. He made Cabin Fever. He even made a house with a clock in its walls, which I really didn't remember him making, but I remember watching that in the cinemas as a kid and being really scared of it, but I was 7. And the performances in Hostel are really raw and visceral. Jay Hernandez delivers a standout performance as Paxton, the film's reluctant hero. And you really don't think he's the hero, as halfway through the movie, the person who you've been following for most of the movie dies. Then Paxton becomes the protagonist. It's really smart. And he brings a sense of vulnerability and desperation to the character. He makes him a compelling and sympathetic figure, even though you originally hate him for everything that he's done. I mean, even Derek Richardson, who's really effective as Josh, Paxton's more naive and idealistic friend, and he just sort of is really reluctant to do all of this. He's reluctant to buy a prostitute. He's reluctant to go and just go somewhere for sex. That's mainly because he's all mopey over his ex, but if I just had a bad breakup, I'd probably be the same. And yeah, I mean, the main thing with Hostel is that it kind of forces you to confront your own issues. It kind of tells you, you just spent 30 minutes hating these guys. Now you're watching them get tortured brutally. Are you going to enjoy it? And if so, what does that say about you? Are you as bad as the people who pay to literally torture these guys? Because you've paid to watch this, which, I paid $4.99 for the DVD, plus shipping, so, about £7. I paid about £7 to watch these guys die. Which, I mean, I do that on a daily, because, I buy a load of horror movies that are all just down here in my DVD collection, and I mean, it's just really disgusting how these guys die, Achilles tendon slit, decapitation, hands cut off with chainsaws, Jesus, bits and bobs are all over the place. And yeah, I mean, it is just really disgusting and really horrific to see how these guys die. But it's also really disgusting and horrific to see how they got here and all the things which they do to get there. All the things which they've done beforehand, which kind of makes you hate them. They're homophobic, they're racist, they're literally the definition of, American stereotype. Oh, they're big, dumb idiots who love being loud and they just go everywhere to get high and have sex. I mean, this movie is not only, a torture porn movie, it's also just commentary on how some people view Americans. I mean, I was told that they're all just stupid. I mean, I have met a lot of dumb Americans. A lot of my friends are dumb Americans. Shout out to all my dumb American friends. But, it's different because not everyone there is dumb. But this movie does kind of paint it as that. And it also just shows how, the fact that this movie is set in a country which not a lot of Americans have even heard of. Slovakia. Where even is that? Oh, that sounds so far away. I'll never even go there. Especially after watching this. I mean, it's just really telling you, these guys, they're so stupid, they're so dumb, they're just so horrible, and they don't even think once about their actions in the movie. They're just yeah, let's go to Slovakia, let's have sex with these girls, then let's just leave. Literally, there's a line in the movie where Paxton says, "Look, Josh, what do you want to do? Leave or stay here for one more night? Bang these girls again? Look, when you're studying for the bar, this is the stuff you're going to be thinking of." Does that not tell you how horrible these guys are? Because that instantly tells me they're not good people. It tells me they're just not good, they're not good people. They kind of deserve it, but at the same time, what does that say? That this movie has made you feel that they deserve what happens to them. That's just great storytelling, and I really love how Eli Roth presents these characters as just horrible people, and then just sort of just throws you into all the torture and the blood and everything. I mean, it's really, really smart just how he just throws it all together. It's really, really good. I mean, even in the first half, before it actually gets to the torture, he is really, really good at just adding slight creepy and, horrific tone, just sense. Occasional bits in there, when the man touches Josh on the leg, the smile he makes, when you see his tattoo for the first time, you know there's something wrong with him. And yeah, this movie's not for the faint of heart, but it does offer a gripping and unflinching exploration of the human depravity. it definitely leaves a lasting impression on you. I tried watching this with my friend the other day, and he did not want to watch it. It is not for the faint of heart. If you cannot take gore, do not watch the movie. And, I mean, it's relentless. It's raw. And it's really thought-provoking as well. Like, I could go on and on about this movie, but I don't want to waste you guys' time. But yeah, so, if you guys have even watched this movie, what did you think about it? Let me know in the comments below. If you haven't watched this movie, I kind of recommend it if you want to watch a weird sex comedy for half the movie, then turn it off when it gets to the torture stuff. That's what I wanted to do. I just wanted to turn it off halfway through and be like, okay, I won't review it, that's good enough. But no, I do this stuff for the channel, and I mean, it's still a good movie. I did enjoy it. I loved watching all the special effects and special features of how they did all of it. But yeah, that's Hostel. What do you guys think about it? Let me know in the comments below. Hostel Part 2. Yes, somehow it's gorier than the first one, and yep, somehow I forced myself to watch it. And yes, I also own it on DVD as well. It's just not in the background because I forgot to decorate the set for the Hostel Part 2 video. Because I couldn't think of anything that I could get for that just to put in the background. Considering how most of the movie is just torture. But yeah, so Hostel Part 2, it delves deeper into the sinister world of the elite hunting club, murder tourism, and it offers a really chilling exploration of human depravity and the insatiable thirst for blood. It was once again directed by Eli Roth, and this sequel to the cult horror hit Hostel promised to shock and disturb audiences with its unrelenting brutality and psychological terror. And yeah, it definitely delivers in that. The movie is a non-stop gore fest, and I absolutely love it, so let's get into it. So yeah, Hostel Part 2. The gruesome business of the elite hunting club continues, as wealthy clients pay top dollar to indulge in their darkest fantasies of sadism and murder. That's nice, isn't it? This time, the story follows three young women. Beth, played by Lauren German, Whitney, played by Bijou Phillips, and Lorna, played by Heather Matarazzo. They all embark on a backpacking trip to Slovakia, and unbeknownst to them, their seemingly innocent adventure takes a horrifying turn when they're lured into the clutches of the elite hunting club. Which is all because they just meet this random lady on a train. Wait, no, they didn't meet her on a train. So they met this woman because they were doing a naked art painting of her in Italy. And yeah, it shows everything. Very nice. And then it shows them all on a train, and they, I guess, decide to go backpacking with her. I don't know. You know, in the first one, they just met Oli out of nowhere. I guess they did say that. So, I don't know, maybe they met her out of nowhere. She seems like a nice enough person in the beginning. Not on the end. But yeah, so as Beth, Whitney and Lorna are subjected to unspeakable horrors at the hands of their captors, they must fight for survival and confront the true natures of evil lurking within the depths of human depravity. Also in this movie, it kind of shows the, point of view of the torturers. What goes through the mindset of someone who pays to kill someone? I'll tell ya, it's not very good. And yeah, Hostel Part 2, it's a visceral and unrelenting descent into the darkest parts of human cruelty. The director perfectly ratchets up tension and gore, just all the way to 11, and it never stops. And it's really just intense, extremely intense. There's no wonder why this movie was banned in Germany and New Zealand. This film just didn't release in those places for years. I'm pretty sure it's still banned in New Zealand. But, yeah, it definitely just revels in the opportunity to just make you really uncomfortable. The first one really did make me uncomfortable, but this second one, Jesus Christ. I watched the first one when I was 10. This one, I only watched for the first time last year, and sure, I was a bit more desensitized to the stuff by then, but it was still a bit surprising. I mean, the performances in the movie are hauntingly effective. Lauren German, Bijou Phillips, and Heather Matarazzo all deliver great performances as the film's torture protagonists. Their journey from innocence to terror is really, really good, and it's really well done. And their struggles for survival just really serves as a harrowing reminder of just how fragile human life is. And the film's most disturbing aspect is just its exploration of just the perpetrators of the violence. It really delves into the minds of the elite hunting club's clients, and it reveals why they do this, It really just shows, like, the kind of people that would pay to kill someone. And it really also shows how ordinary people can become horrible monsters just from peer pressure. And also just from bottling up everything. And through its portrayal of the perpetrators and just their motivations, the film really forces you to confront just the uncomfortable truths about human nature. And the lengths to which someone will go to satisfy their dark desires. Because Stuart probably should have gone to therapy rather than going to murder people. Because he kills one person and then he gets killed, but it still counts. He did kill someone before he died. He probably enjoyed it as well. I mean, he even tries to do the absolutely unthinkable to Beth. Like, once he tries to do that, you lose any sympathy for the man. Like, in the beginning, he's kind of, like, peer pressured into doing it by his friend by the looks of it. But then afterwards, you just kind of, like, learn by watching him do all these things. He wants to do it. He doesn't just, like, get forced to do it. He wants to. That's what is just really creepy about it, because this is a man who, like, has a family. He has kids. You'd expect him to just be like, I don't want to go to some random country and kill people with you, mate. I want to stay here, take care of my family. I want to, I don't know, work out my relationship with my wife because it's utterly screwed at the moment. But no, instead he goes to Slovakia and he gets the tattoo. He puts on the suit. He puts on the butcher's outfit. He puts on the butcher's cap. He grabs the utensils. He's about to do it. And then instead he tries to do something even worse. Of course it does fail, and he gets a very deserved kill. Like, that kill is probably the most deserved kill in the movie, just because of just how much it, once again, the movie just sort of makes you hate him, and then you're watching him get killed. And then it's just, once again, this, like, irony where, like, you've paid to watch the movie, you've paid to watch these people get killed, and now you're sort of enjoying it. That is just really why I love Eli Roth's writing, because he's such a great writer, and I love how much he can fit into just a movie about a bunch of people going to Europe and getting murdered. Like, I got all of that from about 10 minutes in the movie. That's insane. However, this movie does have a few downsides. For one, it kills off the protagonist of the first movie. Paxton was probably my favourite horror character because just how much he survived. And then in the second movie of his franchise, you're just like, bye. Yeah, you're now decapitated and there's a cat eating your insides, mate. Yeah, it's just a bit sad. Like, he went through so much. Maybe Jay Hernandez didn't want to return for a sequel because he was a bit uncomfortable with some of the things that they filmed on the first one. Which is understandable, I now understand that. But, like, you know, you could have just recast him rather than killing off the entire character. But I'm speaking of Jay Hernandez, he's making a new movie and I'm so excited for it. But yeah, that's basically Hostel Part II. It is a increased amount of gore, a increased amount of tension, a increased amount of murder, a increased amount of everything. Sadism, torture, just absolutely disgusting subject matter. And it really just perfectly uses everything, light, shadows, and everything, just to create a really dark and eerie atmosphere. And even the practical effects really just enhance the visceral impact of the violence on the screen. Ultimately, though, Hostel Part II is a chilling and uncompromising horror film. It really does push the boundaries of the genre once again like the first one did. It's got intense violence, thought-provoking themes, and relentless tension. The film is sure to leave a lasting impression on its viewers, especially if you're a bit squeamish. Do not watch this if you cannot take any gore, because this is probably the second goriest horror film I've ever watched besides Terrifier 2. It's soon to be the third goriest horror film I've ever watched because Terrifier 3 is coming out this year, but still. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Have you guys seen Hostel Part 2? Let me know in the comments below. Hostel Part 3. Yeah. This is basically where the franchise is ruined. I was, like, when I watched the first movie, again, I was like, there's gotta be, like, 5 of these, or maybe 8, you know? Evil Bong has 8 movies, this has gotta have a good few. 3? That is really surprising, but I can understand why now, considering how the second one completely failed at the box office, and was banned in several countries, and it just was a bit more like gruesome and horrific, and the subject matter was really extreme. I guess not a lot of people liked it. I'm a kind of enjoyer of the movie just for like how much I can take from it. Like, I really picked it apart in my review for it, which you can watch just up here. But I definitely felt that this one was an extreme step down. So yeah, Hostel Part 3, it ventures into new territory within the horror franchise. It steps away from Eastern Europe and goes to Las Vegas. Directed by Scott Spiegel, this installment takes you on a different kind of nightmare. The one where you can go to some random bachelor party and it goes horribly wrong. So let's get into it. So Hostel Part 3, it follows a group of friends, guys again, it kind of basically copies the formula of the first one, but this time in Las Vegas. It follows Scott, played by Brian Hallisey, Carter, played by Kit Pardee, Justin, played by John Hensley, and Mike, played by Skylar Stone. And they all travel to Las Vegas for Scott's bachelor party. And what starts as a night of, well, you can expect it if you're in Las Vegas. You can probably figure out what they're doing, but I think it's too early in the video to say. I'm not going to do a visual representation either, but I usually do, but not for this one. Yeah, it takes a sinister turn when the group is drugged and abducted by a mysterious organisation as they're taken away to play in a twisted game for survival, and they are barely able to survive. Yeah, this one's just weird. For one, if you are interested in how the last movie told some stuff from the perspective of the killer, it sort of has that. If you're interested in just watching a bunch of guys get killed for no other reason, yeah, that's in here. If you're interested in seeing a GTA font torture scene, that's also in here. Yeah, basically, in this movie, instead of paying to go kill the person, they're paying to watch the person get killed. It's like a game show, I'm not joking. Like, they literally have this little wheel called Wheel of Death or something like that. Wheel of Misfortune. And yeah, they spin it, and it's in a GTA font, so I was laughing the whole time. And it lands on what they think that he's gonna say. Like, you place a bet, and then you think he's gonna say, like, oh, he's gonna beg that he has a family or something. And then you win money if, like, that happens. It's kind of interesting, but why Hostel? Why not just make another movie with that? The first two were really visceral explorations of just human depravity and just how cruel someone can be and why they'd even do it. This one, however, it's just like, yeah, we're going to show some boobs in this movie and we're going to show some guys getting murdered. Hope you enjoy! That's literally the entire movie, by the way. It's just boobs and guts. Except there's no guts. It's like a guy's face gets cut off and it literally just looks like they sprayed some ketchup on him. I could probably go downstairs, grab a ketchup bottle, smear it all over my face, and I'll probably look more like I got my face torn off than it does in this movie. Not to make fun of special effects, because I really don't usually do that. I usually make fun of, like, visual effects, because that's more dumb and they're usually worse, but, like, I think I've seen bad CGI that's better than this. Yeah, this movie definitely marks a departure from the formula. It opts for a new setting, a new storyline, and it basically has nothing to do with the last two other than a name. Because the director injects the film with a sense of energy and style, and it delivers a fast-paced thriller that doesn't even keep you on the edge of your seat. It's more of a comedy than a hostile film. I feel like the studio just saw how well The Hangover did, and they were like, do that, but with torture. And we're gonna make so much money. And they didn't, because it went straight to DVD. Great idea. And yeah, it's just really bad. I have found myself liking certain parts of it. More specifically, just parts of comedy. Like, that was my favourite part of the first one. The first half of the first one just feels like a frat bro comedy. And I was laughing the entire time. Whereas with this one, it's just more like, watch a guy get murdered. Watch a guy make a joke about some random person's appearance. Watch a guy get murdered. Watching creepy taxi driver drive this guy all the way back to his hotel room and tuck him into bed. I'm not joking, that happens in this movie. So random taxi driver takes the guy back to his hotel apparently takes him all the way back to his room and tucks him into bed. Are we not going to take it to the fact that he could have probably done something else to that man? But yeah, the film's strength definitely lies in just the comedy. It's got nothing else. Like, the rest of it is just really, really bad. And it definitely stumbles in a lot of areas, particularly in the handling of the horror elements. The film does have some creative kills and some good practical effects at some points, but it lacks any tension. It's all just like, you see that person there? They're strapped to a chair and they're gonna die. Also, why does it look so high-tech? This is 2011, mate. The last film was in, like, 2007? That's like 4 years. If my math was wrong, I'll correct it on the screen, but I doubt it was, because I'm alright with maths. But, yeah. It's just bad. And I was really disappointed by just the absence of just the iconicness of the first two. Like, on the cover of this movie, it shows the original, like, design for the butchers and the killers. But in this one, they're just wearing white surgical costumes. I didn't pay for the DVD to watch a bunch of guys get killed by doctors, alright? I paid for the DVD because I wanted to watch a bunch of guys go to Las Vegas and get tortured. Not actually, I paid for it for the review, but still. Like, yeah. It's just kind of bad, and it doesn't really make up for it in any way except for the comedy, which only slightly makes up for the fact. The story is still terrible, but I do like a lot of it. I liked some of the acting. For example, the two characters in the opening scene, one of the actors, I think his name was Victor, he played a really good character. I was so annoyed when he got killed, because I was like, yes, keep going, get out of there. And then it's just like, nope, he gets shot. What kind of dumb... I bet Scott Spiegel did that, but like, why would you kill off a character who we've seen throughout the entire movie, who I've been enjoying throughout the entire movie, and who literally just escaped, like, this weird cage thing that he was in, and is, like, helping the other guys escape, and then you just shoot him? It would have made more sense to have him die in, like, a heroic way if you're gonna kill him. Like, have him save the other two. At least that adds something to it. Or maybe, like, have those two escape and then have him be captured and tortured to death. That would at least maybe have him die a hero rather than just, like, get shot. Like, come on. Ultimately, though, this is definitely a mixed bag. It offers a fresh take on the franchise while definitely deviating from some elements that made the original film so successful. It definitely didn't reach the heights of its predecessors, but there are a lot of people who like this movie. I'm one of them. I'm kind of 50-50, you know? I like a lot of it. I like the comedy. I like the character of Victor and Anka. They're sort of here for a while. And it's just really cool. So yeah, that's pretty much Hostel Part 3. Thank you for watching this video. What do you guys think of Hostel Part 3? Let me know in the comments below if you have seen the movie. If you haven't seen the movie, I sort of recommend it if you're into a horror version of The Hangover. So yeah, that's all the Hostel movies. Hostels 1, 2, and 3. And as I said, I do think they are some of the most underrated horror movies out there. They're all made by Eli Roth. He does an amazing job, except the third one that isn't made by Eli Roth. I don't know why I said they were all. The last one's made by Scott Spiegel, and he does a pretty piss-poor job, to be honest. But overall, I do think that all these movies are pretty good in themselves. They're gory, they're sleazy, they're cheesy, and overall, they have a pretty goddamn creepy storyline. And the acting is pretty brutal as well. Like, that bit where they slit the guy's Achilles tendons, scarred for life after that. Yeah, so how do they all rank? Because beginning it off, in last place, I have Hostel 3. This isn't particularly a bad movie, it's just not really a hostel movie. It's more just like The Hangover, but with some torture in there. And it's not really the best quality-wise. When they peel a guy's face off, it looks like they just splurted some ketchup on it. And overall, I don't think it is the best movie in the trilogy. It's kind of piss poor, to be honest. As I said earlier, it's pretty piss poor. I don't really like it. Moving on to second place, though, I have Hostel Part 2. This is one of the other slept-on movies in the franchise besides the first one, which is Not really that slept on. A lot of people know the first one. They don't really know that it had sequels. When I first watched the first one, I didn't even know it had sequels. I thought that was how it ended. I was wrong. Sadly, I was wrong. Um, yeah, so Hostel Part 2 is really gory. It's definitely not one where you're going to go in and watch it and you're just going to be like, oh, fun little horror film to spend a few quid on, watch it, have a good time, and go and sleep. No, this is the kind of one you'll need to watch in the middle of the bloody daytime or else you will be horrified. Not only is it kind of creepy, it's also horribly gory, and they cut a man's namesake off in it. And they show it all. And yeah, pretty much for the best movie in the franchise, though, is the first one. It is really, really good. The gore and everything works perfectly, along with the storyline, just to really set you an uneased, feeling throughout the entire movie. And I do kind of feel like that movie has a lot of social commentary in it, where, you go across with these guys in the entire movie, and you hate them. You hate them for what they're doing. You hate them for what they've said. Now you're watching them get killed. Are you going to enjoy that? And yeah, that's pretty much the Hostel movies reviewed and ranked. What do you guys think about the Hostel movies? Let me know in the comments below if you have seen the movie. If you haven't seen them all, I do recommend go watching them if you can handle it. If not, I'd say wait until you're probably of age to watch them. I probably should have, to be honest. But yeah, it's definitely a very adult franchise, I'd say. But yeah, wait until you're old enough to watch them, or just go ahead and watch them. But pre-warning, they are very gory, and I don't really recommend it to anyone who's squeamish or gets scared very easily, because you'll probably, cry. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Until next time, thank you for watching the video. That was a joke at the end there. You won't cry if you watch the movies, you'll just, vomit. I don't know how people react to gore and stuff. It depends on the person. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel for more reviews, rankings, and theory videos, and some news and all that kind of jazz. All that jazz on the channel, you know. Love doing some jazz. But yeah, until next time, bye bye.